Hey, this is Sam Ritchie. I'm here in some of the outskirts of our Cascade Mountains area, and I'm in a campsite with where a couple and their daughter were camping out for a couple of months. And this is just catty corner back over here. Get this refocused here. Where we had the Barb and Gabby camp out this past September, which is right across over there. And we met them while the couple and their daughter were camping out here. They're gone now. But they had interesting experiences while they were camping out here. And unbelievably, they kept talking about a bear initially. They kept hearing or footsteps and seeing things through the trees. And come to find out, when they described what they were seeing, they were actually describing the Sasquatch that were up in the area. So afterwards they started having experiences of the Sasquatch, especially during the night. They would come up, they actually, and this confirmed by both of them actually, and the daughter, they would see them sitting up on this little ridge here, which is actually blocking one of the old Forest Service roads here, and they would set up in a hierarchy up here on the hill. And so I decided to come out here on a nightly basis just to be able to sit here and sit around the campfire here and see if we could experience some of this. And nothing actually happened while I was here necessarily, but we did hear one night, was sitting there and he said, "Watch this." And the next thing you know, he was sitting there concentrating, and I heard the house, Sasquatch. And it only lasted for about 15 seconds, and then it stopped. So that was pretty phenomenal in itself, and I can't remember if this was the same night, but I believe he called me up, he said, "Be sure to come back up here on one night." So I got something really phenomenal to show you. So I did come back here, and we're sitting here, and it says, "Oh, you got to see this." His girlfriend was telling me about something he did the night before, and he was going to replicate it this night. So it was a clear starry night out, and he goes over there and he looks up at the sky and he points out a star up there, a very faint looking star that was stationary in the sky. And then all of a sudden he points at it and says, "Now watch this." So he kind of concentrates, and he starts moving his finger. Let me replicate that, like this. And all of a sudden, guess what? The star, what I thought in the sky, moved with his finger. Then the next thing you know, he went like this. And the light went just like that. And then he went and it took off. Well, I'll tell you what, if he asked me to pay $100 to see that, I would have easily paid him $200, because it was the most phenomenal experience I've ever seen. And I have no reason to actually make this up or lie about it, because I don't profit from anything on me posting videos, or it's all strictly about knowledge and information, so I'm not going to hold back about that. Now, obviously that wasn't a star, but obviously a UFO of some sort. But something about this gentleman, and he definitely has some intuitive skills, is the best way I could put it, that allowed him to control that light in the sky. And it wasn't a magic trick or anything like that, because it was clearly up in the sky when he did that. And he was just describing the night before where another couple was here, and he was doing it 7 or 8 times the night before. And the couple was totally in disbelief. Most people, when they see something like that, it's just like seeing the Sasquatch for the first time. They go into a denial phase. But I was just kind of smiling when I saw that. It says, go figure. Everything else I've seen, the light portal, the orb, the various Sasquatches, and now this. And I think they're all related. And, because you start talking about interdimensional, you start talking about spirit, like who we are. We actually learn a little bit about ourselves, and about the fact that we have connections to what's up there too. So things get more and more interesting the longer I do research. And I'll tell you what, it's kind of amazing that I've been privileged to have these different experiences. It's almost like preparing for something greater.
Well, I'm back at the cabin, and I have a picture here that I took while they were still camping there. And this, of course, is in the forest area behind the smaller mounts I was showing in the video, where the small juveniles or the small ones were actually sitting on the lower level. And one of the things they mentioned while the Sasquatches were there, that they knew when they were there at night, but during the daytime sometimes, especially, they would have the feeling like they were being watched all the time. And so looking up at the trees, and it says, well, let me go ahead and take a couple of pictures up there, and then I can usually spot something, and something's up there that's actually watching you guys. So I went ahead and took this picture. It's one of two pictures, but this one had a little bit more clarity to it. And true to what I normally do, I always look for some of the darker spots on the picture. And of course, this is with my Nikon camera. The lighting wasn't especially spectacular that day, and somewhat foggy, but I was able to spot something that really stood out to me. So, in looking at this picture right here, here's an area very small. You can tell, like this, you wouldn't think I would think anything of this black spot right here, but when I'm zooming in, I'm looking at all these spots. But I did look at this initially because it looked dark, but this caught my eye down here. So let's go ahead and zoom in here a little bit closer, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm just can only go in so far. This is actually a good quality picture, and considering how far in I had to go, I had to get some idea of the detail that I'm going to be seeing here. But even from this distance, this is what's catching my eye, not so much this up here. Although there is something that could be there, and I'm actually seeing probably a couple of squatches, and because I kind of see a form and all that. But the problem is I want to be able to see. I can't just simply say that's what that is. I need to be able to see some detail. This is what's catching my eye right here, because I'm actually seeing a full face. I can see it from here right now, from this distance. I can actually see this is a creature right here. I can see the detail of the eyes, the nose, the mouth to a degree from this distance. But let me go ahead and pull a little bit closer and show you what I'm talking about. Okay. You should be able to start making out the face and everything. It is not in a typical sense the face of a squatch that you'd normally people always assume they're always looking for the adult squatches or the male squatches that are going to be pretty hairy, especially in the facial area right here. But if you look right here, here's the face, a fairly clear-faced individual, and there's the hair around it, the typical widow's peak area that I notice in most of the squatches. And the eyes are very dark and inset right here in the nose and the mouth. Pulling just a little bit closer before it starts pixelating, you'll see what I'm talking about. There you go. You should be able to see the hair right about here, and here's the chin area. You see the two eyes. Let me go ahead and put my cursor hand over them, and of course this nose is right here. And there is actually a clear neck area, so I'm starting to consider if this was a squatch as a younger one and or a female that actually is up in the tree. I'm going to pull back a little bit further so you can see. Now I've taken the picture, cleaned up a little bit as far as adding lighting and contrasting. Let me go ahead and switch to that, and I'll show you. Okay, here we go. This, I had to add some color to it, and but to bring out the detail of this facial area a little bit. I can still come in a little bit closer. Matter of fact, I have this picture. It kind of pulls it in even closer. I can't really get much further in because if you see from that original photo, it was just a very, very small spot. So but I'm amazed by the detail that I was able to pick up. You could see the two very dark eyes. The nose is right here, the mouth area. You could see the forehead right here, and you can see the shape of the face goes down. Here's a clear chin area, back up like that, and then of course I'm assuming this clear area down here is a kind of neck area, and then you can tell this is hairy because you can see the waves around the hair, kind of like all the way around like that. The one thing I will note that when I was relating during the video about my friend who was pointing at the sky and was doing his trick and showing, well, it wasn't a trick, it was real, of actually manipulating the UFO lights, was that whenever he did that, he actually was able to have an image of whoever was in the ship. And he would also tell me that they will also see who he was too. So there was some kind of telepathic link going on there. But this is in fact the when I showed him this picture right here, or I actually showed him the laptop like I'm doing with you guys right now, he said, that's who I saw on the ship. It's exactly the kind of creature I saw on the ship. So is it a Sasquatch? Maybe. Maybe not. But it definitely is a humanoid type of creature. It isn't any animal I've seen ever. So, I mean, this is the closest thing I've seen to a type of humanoid there. A lot of folks that I've talked to, we've come to the conclusion there's many different kinds of humanoid creatures, especially if you deal with the stories around the world in different parts of the countries. There's different types, and they look different. There's different types of Sasquatches. There's different types of Yetis, different types of the Yowies, for instance, even in Australia that they call them. But not just simply separate types of names they have for them in these different areas. It's just they also are very different from each other. And you could argue that with the human race as well, because of the fact that we have different races that are different. And so why wouldn't it be any different for the Sasquatch, humanoid creatures? Okay. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that. This was a pretty good find here. The other thing I want to share real quick was the picture I took. It happened also, of all times, was around the blood moon that happened at that time. And it won't happen again until, I believe, 2033. But I thought I would capture it, but I just missed it by about a couple of minutes or so. But this is what I got, so, which is pretty cool, I think. On my next video, I really was wanting to work on a video covering orbs, because that subject's come up a little bit. And I have had a collection of photos of orbs. I have not published them yet. I have some stories. I know Barb's going to share an experience about what she's seen. And, of course, related to this also is the light portal and orb that I came across. So there is definitely a connection with orbs and the Sasquatches, and at this point UFOs. So they're all connected somehow. How exactly? Couldn't tell you. But I know there is a connection.